The boxes were stacked like a cardboard mountain in the hallway. Akito taped the last one shut, his hands trembling just a little. For 18 years, these walls had been his world, but tomorrow, they would belong to his memories. His mother, Megumi, walked in carrying a small, worn-out plush dinosaur he hadn't seen in a decade. "Don't forget the most important passenger," she said with a soft smile that didn't quite hide the sadness in her eyes. Akito took the toy, feeling the weight of everything he was leaving behind. The train ride to the city felt like a bridge between two lives. Akito pressed his forehead against the cool glass, watching the suburban greenery dissolve into a rhythmic blur of steel, glass, and neon. In his pocket, the key to his new apartment felt heavy and sharp. It was a tiny piece of metal, but it represented a terrifying amount of freedom. He wondered if he looked as nervous as he felt, or if he looked like just another adult starting a Tuesday. The apartment was smaller than he remembered from the viewing. It smelled of floor wax and silence. Akito's father, Sora, grunted as he set down the heaviest crate of textbooks. "The sink drips if you turn it too hard," Sora remarked, wiping sweat from his brow. "And the heater makes a sound like a ghost, but you'll get used to it." They stood in the center of the empty room, the echo of their footsteps reminding Akito that tonight, for the first time, he would be the only one breathing in this space. Dinner was a cup of instant noodles and a lukewarm soda. Akito sat on the floor, his laptop balanced on a box, the blue light reflecting in his tired eyes. The silence of the apartment was loud, punctuated only by the distant hum of traffic below. He thought about the noisy dinners at home, the clinking of ceramic plates, and Megumi's constant questioning about his day. He realized then that independence wasn't just about making your own rules. It was about being the only one there to hear them. The university campus was a sea of moving bodies. Akito felt like a single drop of water lost in an ocean. He was staring at a map, spinning it around to find Building C, when someone bumped into his shoulder. It was a tall student with messy hair and a camera hanging around his neck. "First year?" the stranger asked, grinning. "I'm Arata. I spent 20 minutes in the bushes looking for the library this morning. Want to be lost together?" For the first time since arriving, Akito felt his shoulders drop from his ears. Adulthood, Akito discovered, was a series of small, confusing battles. The most formidable foe was the communal laundry room. He stared at the washing machine, which was currently foaming over with a mountain of white bubbles. He had used too much detergent, and now his favorite sweaters were drowning in a soapy sea. He stood there with a plastic basket, feeling a wave of frustration. There was no one to call for help, no one to fix the mess but him. Late that night, Akito leaned against the railing of his tiny balcony. The city was a tapestry of lights, beautiful and indifferent. He pulled out his phone and dialed home. When Megumi answered, her voice sounded like a warm blanket. He told her about the laundry disaster and the silent apartment. "It's hard, isn't it?" she whispered. "But you're building a home, Akito. That takes more than just moving boxes." Hanging up, he didn't feel quite so small anymore. The midterms arrived like a storm. Akito and Arata found a corner in a 24-hour cafe, surrounded by empty coffee cups and highlighted notes. They spoke in whispers about architecture and dreams, the stress of the exams forging a bond that felt sturdier than any he'd had in high school. "We're going to survive this," Arata said, passing Akito a sugar-filled donut. Akito realized that while he had left his old family, he was slowly, piece by piece, starting to find a new one. A month later, the apartment no longer felt like a waiting room. Akito had bought a small potted fern and placed it on the windowsill. He had hung a poster of his favorite film on the wall and organized his books by color. He stood back, watering the plant, noticing how the light caught the green leaves. It wasn't his parents' house, and it wasn't perfect, but it was his. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was full of his own thoughts and his own rhythm. Walking across the quad on a crisp autumn morning, Akito reached into his pocket. He felt the key, but it no longer felt like a heavy burden. It was just a key. He saw Arata waving from the distance and adjusted the strap of his bag. He wasn't the same boy who had taped those boxes shut. He was a student, a cook of sorts, a laundry survivor, and a friend. Akito stepped forward into the crowd, not as a drop in the ocean, but as a person finally finding his own current.